Hello again, friend. What are you working on?
Hello, I am making a project about quadriplegic and paraplegic spinal conditions.
Oh wow. That seems interesting. Could I see?
Sure. Take a look.
This project is about quadriplegic and paraplegic spinal conditions. Quadriplegia and paraplegia are spinal conditions that result from certain diseases or spinal injuries. Both of them are types of paralysis. Paraplegia is the paralysis of the legs or lower body, while quadriplegia is paralysis of all four limbs. While this may seem to only imply complete paralysis, it can also refer to partial paralysis of four limbs. The specific effect of paraplegia on the body are the affected body parts becoming numb or not feeling anything at all. This can risk injury and burns. Organs can be affected and used to cause a lot of death, but thanks to modern technology such as self-catharsis, the chance of death from disorder in excretory organs is much lower. Quadriplegia in physiology. Lose of use and feeling in all four limbs, similar to paraplegia, can cause pain, blood clots, pressure sores, spastic muscles, respiratory problems, autonomic dysreflexia, and loss of bowel and bladder control. Disorder in excretory organs remains. But just because of these effects, it does not mean that people cannot live normal lives, as Gareth Lynch shows in his story.
Gareth Lynch is someone who lives with quadriplegic who had his spinal cord injury, which made him lose 86% of his body when a stunt went bad. He can move some of his body but not all of it. His life is a bit different than others since he can't move much like others, so there are difficulties in his everyday activities like getting dressed, which he says took time to get used to since having someone else around to help when it's supposed to be something personal. He has a normal life, good friends and girlfriend who help him, but he misses the times when he could play his favorite sports and activities that made him happy. He's an active member of society since he still is following his goals of becoming an engineer even after the incident, and he continues his university studies even in this condition. Does not make him any less or more than other people who don't have the condition. He is treated no differently than most people. He's still able to hang out with his friends and go out to places where they can go.
But that was not always the case, as until recent times spinal cord conditions were considered untreatable. Surgeons just did not have the tools to treat spinal cord conditions. But with the inventions of radiography, myelography, computer tomography, and the development of MRIs, it made it possible for surgery to be performed safely. Now, antibiotics can be given to prevent infections for people with spinal injuries. Doctors now know that antidepressants can help calm the pain. Back only about 200 years ago, there was no care given to quadriplegic and paraplegic people because they lacked the ability to go to many buildings, as at this time no buildings had ramps as they were not required to. But after a long and large protest by all kinds of people who had disabilities, led to the release of the Americans with Disability Act, which banned governmental discrimination of disabled people and required government buildings to add ramps, which means that quadriplegic and paraplegic people can get around much easier and helping them live more normal lives. But the law did not stop individuals from discrimination against not only PAPA and CUFTA people, but disabled people in general, which is still an issue faced in the modern day.
Rights and responsibilities. Quadriplegics and paraplegics, like any other able-bodied human, are people and deserve the same rights and treatment. They are born with human DNA, they have the ability to think, reason, act for themselves, communicate, and be self-aware, as well as feel emotional and physical pain. These meet the criteria of most of the 5 major philosophical theories of personhood. Therefore, they should be treated like everyone else. Accommodation. When one paralyzes their legs or all limbs, they must go to the hospital for acute care and initial rehabilitation. For paraplegics, these may last 67 days and 95 days for quadriplegics. In the U.S., hospital bills can easily become $100,000, with insurance only covering about half. Not to mention the possible need for wheelchairs, ventilators, and a personal care assistant. In a lifetime, people with high quadriplegia are said to pay $4,724,181. Low quadriplegia is $3,451,781, and paraplegia $2,310,104. There are groups like Access Living, which provide help to quadriplegics and paraplegics by giving them information and access to proper nursing homes, transportation to and from the nursing homes, certified personal assistants to hire, and classes and workshops to develop independent living skills. The options these groups provide may be financially better to choose, rather than other expensive nursing homes or personal assistants.
Access Living are one of the many groups advocating for not only quadriplegic and paraplegic people, but for all disabilities. Ways that the justice for people dealing with quadriplegic and paraplegic is ramps and public transportation. While government buildings are required to have ramps, non-government buildings is still impossible to be accessed by quadriplegic or paraplegics. The government should make it so that all buildings and public transport should be accessible to quadriplegic and paraplegic. Another way the government could help is by creating jobs for disabled people that don't require as much labor. The principle of Catholic social teaching of rights and responsibilities can be used to address this topic, as even quadriplegics and paraplegics should have access to a decent human life, such as faith and family, food, shelter, education, and a job. We should also follow the principles of respect for life and solidarity. Subsidiarity can be used as quadriplegics and paraplegics can do certain jobs, and able-bodied people should not take those jobs away from them. Wow! Now I know about quadriplegic and paraplegic spinal conditions. Good job.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, now I leave.